It's just funny. People taking it so seriously. Oh my
Well,
God.
you teed up the ball, so I want to go ahead and take my swing because you said the D word.
Uh-oh.
Disney's decided that it would be a smart business decision to first, before the show drops, to call everybody racist.
Yep.
Yeah.
As the first weekend the show drops, to call people racist, and now after feedback and the the third episode drops, call people racist. Ryan, can you think of a worse business model and strategy than that? I really don't know what I don't know what I could think of that would be a worse idea to run my business to do this kind of stuff.
This is what happens when you turn the Kenobi TV series into the Darth Wakanda show. this is what happens.
Mr.
This
Dr.
woman
Professor,
is
he the
Michael
best.
Burnham of Star Trek.
Yeah.
For goodness sake, she can use Leia to lure Obi-Wan when how the hell does she know they're connected? I mean,
don't explain it. Don't explain it. Not going to explain it, in my
she
opinion.
kills the Grand Inquisitor and Vader thinks Kenobi did it? Does Reva, also known as Darth Wakanda, have force sensitivity stronger than the bloody Emperor? I mean, come on, man, to quote your illegitimate president. Come on, man.
Ryan, no,
He's not wrong.
Call her Darth Panther.
Ironcaster, you haven't watched a minute, so let me ask you a question because it gets this absurd. I kid you not. The writing is so bad in today's episode that the trap works, right? They use Leia as bait. They pull Kenobi out into the open, and therefore there's a face-off with Vader and Obi-Wan, whatever, and it ends, and they don't ever even, there's no pause in the writing room that they've created this incredible flaw. And I will be, if I ran about this one, how many views will I get? You do realize now all we would have to do now is just hold Bail Organa and his family hostage, because now we know there's a link. There was so little thought out that it starts to make Halo look decent. That's how bad it gets.
Oh my gosh, that's bad.
Am I wrong with that
really
analysis? Are any of you follow my logic, right?
Yep.
Let's kidnap Leia to get Obi-Wan out into the group. We don't know where Obi-Wan is. Obi-Wan randomly just shows up and has the kid, so we know it worked. So that we know Bail Organa is connected to Obi-Wan in some way, shape, or form. So if we lose Leia or if it doesn't work out, we'll just try again with another family member. It's totally it just pulls the curtain back on the secret of relationship. It's just it's so stupid.
It sounds like you could even kind of then use this to sort of build up the targeting of Leia at the start of A New Hope, that you have Darth Vader now going after her because, well, she's been kind of connected to Obi-Wan in some way, and I don't know. I'm kind of grasping at straws. I have not watched this. I really have no desire to see it because I'm just sick of the hatred coming from Star Wars to fans.
Yeah,
it's
So
crazy.
It's like every time they open their mouth, every time they come out and talk about this stuff, it just more attacks on the fans. I don't want anything to do with this right now. It's like I would rather just Star Wars, much like I said for James Bond, just kind of go away for like 4 or 5 years. Let's kind of put things down and simmer for a while, and
Right.
let some heal.
Mags, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say it makes you feel dirty, like Ironcaster said. It's like you get tired of the attacks on us, the fans, and everything else, and just watching it makes you still feel dirty and negative and just ill. But at the same time, if how does this all play into their own continuity? It's broken, even through Rogue One and everything else in between. My brain is hurting just thinking about all that. The reason why, according to Disney, that they were going after Leia's ship is because they had the plans on there that the Rogue One crew got the Death Star's plans to. But now it's like, so her secret is already revealed to be that of something else, and they've never in the previous original trilogy, they never went after her before. She was just a senator, part of doing her father's bidding, being part of the rebellion, but they didn't know about what she was doing. So I don't know. It's my head hurts with their continuity, and now they're destroying it. They're even destroying their own creations, like rebels with the Grand Inquisitor stuff. It's just
Yeah, and you're not allowed to point it out because then you just cue the name calling, because it was really an eye-opening experience for me. I was like, what is happening? It's like I was called just basically the old guy multiple times. I was like, well, that's just not fair. Like, of course I'm an old guy. I don't even care. Like, what? That doesn't have anything to do with no one cared about most of my arguments. The weirdest thing was how much people were just like, well, let's just see where it goes. That's the biggest consensus to most things that are dumb. It's let's just see where it goes.
I think it's because it ultimately comes back to people just wanting good Star Wars.
yes.
Yeah, because I didn't even get into the nitpicky. I didn't even get into the REVA stuff. I'm waiting for that to load there, Brandon. He sent me a little link here to share for a second. So I think it's something. I'm just trying to get my computer to load all the way. I didn't get into like. I think at that point I was still like, I'll defend REVA. Is it because we're in like, it was like a chicken and egg argument for me, because it was like, well, let's create a horrible character. She doesn't get transformed into a Inquisitor or Dark Force. She won't look like them. She'll just be this black girl who just yells and screams and mean to people, and then we'll basically tell her they're going to attack you for being racist. And it was like the self-fulfilling prophecy. It was basically all they did. And I'm like, was that her fault? Because she just did what she was paid to do. The problem is it's so unbearably bad. So this was Colonel Ataku Gatekeeper. What is this?
This was something that came across my feed earlier, and something I was sharing a little bit of.
To Fandom Menace. Star Wars is not made for you anymore. You can either continue to deny and waste your time waiting for the franchise to return to glory, or accept it and move on. For those who don't want to do the latter, allow me to introduce Gundam. Why Gundam is superior to Star Wars. Plain good versus evil. Morality gray and complex factions. Hand-fisted, mindless, left-wing political preaching. Politically nuanced storytelling. Treats its fans like treats its fans with respect. Okay. Obsessed with the past and abuses the nostalgia. Looks to the future to create new nostalgia memories. If you're fed up with Disney Star Wars, give Gundam a chance. That's a great ad. From Brandon, the anime guy. Very good ad. I like that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Ironcaster, for sharing that with me. And I have definitely passed along that message. And it is so true. You know, where do I start with this travesty and atrocity that is the Obi-Wan Kenobi show? Here,
how much have you taken in? Oh, that's so cool. Ooh. I know. I love the man and his toys.
That is cool. That is cool.
Brandon, how much have you taken in? You watched the first one?
I did watch the first 2 episodes of Kenobi. I watched it with my bud Snowdub, and we both came to pretty much the same conclusion. We needed to spork our eyes out and shove pencils in our ears. It was bad. That first episode was not good. The second episode was worse. And I declared on his channel that as of that night, Star Wars was dead. Disney Star Wars has ruined it. There's no way that I'm going to invest any more time in it, knowing that eventually all roads lead to Soy Woker and all of that crap. I have no faith in Disney to do right. I have no faith in Lucasfilm to do anything right. I have no faith with Kathleen Kennedy, the flying butt monkey herself, to do anything right. And as much as I may, like and respect Favreau, and to a much, much, much lesser extent Filoni, they're not the ones calling the shots. That is apparent with this show. That was apparent with the last show. They have done it. I'm done with it. I'm not going to do anything further with it. I will not wreck my mind canon, or even disrespect what came before. This show is a full-on disrespect of the original trilogy. This is telling George Lucas what you made sucks, and we're trying to do it better because you couldn't do it right. And here's the part that really hurts me. There are a lot of people within the Star Wars fandom that I hang out with, that I subscribe to, that I pal around with, wrench for, etc., 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 you could see on certain people's faces how badly disappointed they were with this. They may say one thing, but their body language says another. And and some of them are being a little more generous than others. And then there's other people that I respect immensely who, for some reason, think that this is the tour de force. This is Star Wars. This is what they were waiting for.
It's strange to me.
And it kills me.
Low Spec says that it was even worse than the first 2 episodes. That was enough for me. I think episode 2 is the worst. It's worse than even episode 3. Episode 3 hurts differently, and I literally said this in that little rant. I think all of you by now have probably seen enough of my little rant to realize I literally was like in pain because I was literally seeing. I think this is what Halo did to Loki. It was like he felt like it was being murdered in front of him. Like the stuff I loved is being destroyed in front of me, and that's how I felt with the first 2 episodes of Kenobi, where like these 4 or 5 things are like devastating to the story. I don't care about it being the old way. I don't care about Kenobi not changing or having a story. One of the first things I said was just like, look, if this was just set a year or 2 after, it would make at least a little bit more sense. The fact that this guy's been sitting around basically becoming useless for a decade makes no flipping sense. And then this episode 3, which part of me feels, and maybe this is my call in life, that I need to be the one to say, I'm going to explain to you people why you're wrong. And there's better people out there than me. Gary makes a living being way better at this than me because of the way they edit their videos together. But if I don't try to explain it to one person to say, look, you're going to figure this out eventually. They're not going to explain these things to you. They're not. They don't care. They don't care that the person that's jumping and flipping around like a scene in the Matrix just watches a ship fly away. They're not going to explain to you how Vader, like 2 seconds ago, manipulated the fire in the middle of this lightsaber duel, and then at the end, just watched it burn so they could have a reflection on the helmet. That's the only reason they did that. They will not explain to you why or how any of this would make sense. They don't care. And these people are just dumb. They literally think they're going to get explanations. They literally think, well, let's just see what they do. They're not going to do anything. They're going to keep going on with the story. They don't care when you raise your hand and go, that doesn't make any sense. They don't. Troy, you're a
bigot.
I know I am. I don't think I got too much isms or idiots in my attacks. I got more of just you're old and you're dumb, and if you would just see it this way or you see it that way. I get kind of like that kind of stuff. But
see, people are saying that to you. It shouldn't matter about age. Isn't that ageist of them to say? I mean, let's go right back.
Yes, a little bit, but yeah, it's almost like it's kind of like what that meme was saying. You're the old guy. You want it the way it was. Like I didn't even argue that perspective. I didn't think anyway. Troy, you're kind of like, I'm not giving Disney a nickel. I don't want a part of it and that kind of thing. We're not really helping the cause a little bit, are we?
No. See, I've been very much of the mindset, I've followed along with the big channels and stuff, and I've been hopeful, and I've been, there's definitely the factions that care about Star Wars, but, there's these other people from Lucasfilm that are, trying to subvert expectations, and there's this war going on and but I finally got to the point where I just, you know what? As long as she's still there, as long as those people are still there, that's what's happening. That's what Disney's killing it. And not in the good way. I mean, literally killing it. And, you can tell me every other year, oh, but she's on her way out. She's, she's definitely, and now she's making the rounds, and, I don't care. I do not care, because she's 70 something years old, right? She's eventually going to decide to leave herself. Either that or, heaven take her. It's going to happen eventually. That doesn't make you a great prophet to know she's eventually going to be gone. The fact is, nobody is stepping in and being the adult in the room and saying, we paid $5 billion for this franchise, and we are Amber hurting the bed with it. We really are. and they still, honestly, because of what they've lost and what is, it continues to hurt them, and the streaming and all this, I don't think they've even made even with their original investment. No. I really don't think so.
Not even close.
And
Yeah.
no, I have not seen these episodes, but why are we doing prequels that can only hurt their established canon, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. It's because Kathleen Kennedy already had greenlit a Boba Fett movie and an Obi-Wan movie.
Yep.
Those things have been in, limbo, and that's why we ended up getting these TV shows.
Yep.
Okay, they're the leftovers from a movie treatment that she was trying to do. Are Favreau and Filoni doing the best they can? Maybe, but it's still something that never ever should have happened. And this is what I was talking about before. It's good by comparison. That doesn't make it truly good. I'm getting ready to do a video. I haven't seen these episodes, but what I do see is the marketing. Okay, I'm a toy guy, and I saw last weekend at the Hasbro, booth at the celebration. They announced their new HasLab, which is Reva's goofy lightsaber, for $3,000, and a Reva figure in the retro style, the Black Series, and the Vintage collection, and where is the Obi-Wan figure? They announced a Vintage collection on Monday, and they announced a Black Series over the weekend. He's taking second fiddle in his own show in the marketing.
Yeah.
Obi-Wan didn't even get a retro figure for the Star Wars release of the retro line.
What?
And here it is with him getting his own show, and there still hasn't been an announcement of an Obi-Wan retro figure. You tell me that she's not taking the starring role in the Obi-Wan movie.
Well, I want to get to Soul
Yeah,
Assassin's
TV.
comment real quick because he says recommend reading the book. I think Mags and I talked about this on our Star Wars streams. Well, the book is fantastic, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Better characters. Yeah, so definitely read that. And then he says, I just can't give up Star Wars. Just cut the Disney crap out of the true canon of the EU. There's plenty of material to spin around.
You know what I think they're going to do? I think we're going to have a Star Wars What If series.
They already do.
Similar to that of Marvel.
They have it right now.
They have it
Yeah,
made.
we're in the middle of it.
And they have it in there's comic book formats and things like that they could pull from. Filoni wants to be Lucas, was said. The last 3 episodes are atrocious. Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And you think that didn't make sense? Hold my beer. Yeah, I know. I know.
And the thing is with this show, it's got Kathleen Kennedy and Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor as producers on the show, and I'm like, why? It's just there's. I mean, even I know Jon Favreau and Filoni. I don't think they were part of the credits on the first 2 episodes that I remembered, but I'm just like, what? The one thing that you don't want to do is mess with. I would say the original 3 is definitely they're the top tier ghosts. They're number 1 tier, and then there's the second tier where you have the Hayden Christensen, the Ewan McGregor, even the Samuel L. Jackson types and all that kind of stuff. And that tier, don't mess with those tiers. And now they've destroyed those characters. I can't. How can they do that? I don't know how to explain my emotions through it all.
Well, I can tell you.
Do that?
I can tell you what I was thinking, and again, I think different folks have said it a different way, but I think Brandon said it best, and it is when the fandom is sensitive to the woman being in charge, the female characters being superior. You've heard all the hate on Rey and all these different things, and you've gone through these different shows, and now you're going to roll out Obi-Wan, and I kid you not, in episode 3. First, Leia is constantly not listening to him and chatty chat, getting him out of a situation. And then female rebel disguised as an emperor soldier shows up. That saves him. And then later, when there's another fight scene, he gets saved again by the same female.
Oh my
At some point, you're not telling a story. You're purposely doing things to antagonize the haters. You're purposely trying to do things because first off, there's a female stormtrooper.
Well, I mean, we do know
where
that
did that come
the
from?
writers' rooms do like to do that. They
And I
admitted this
mean,
was Star
it's not
Trek.
in, and I want to make sure we're clear. It's not in question that it's a female stormtrooper because of the voice. It says in the subtitles, in the captions, female stormtrooper. It's not not me misgendering somebody. It said female stormtrooper. Now it's like the stupidity overflows of like them destroying it themselves because there's really nothing left. Like I said, I tweeted at Dave Filoni. They're literally killing a character that you created, by the way. Do you realize that you're killing your own creator, like your own creation? Like, why did you do this? This character doesn't exist for 5 years, and you murdered him already. Anyway,
or at least he might have existed during this time period, but he existed in a different show, and now he's dead. Like, how does that even work?
He's dead before that show starts. Yeah,
like,
Disney.
Are you destroying your own content? Yeah, are you destroying your own canon to kind of reboot your own? I don't understand this. This is madness. It's like it's weird.
Or it's just like Book of Boba Fett, where no one really dies. Next episode they're putting robotic parts into his stomach or whatever.
Oh, the mod squad stuff. Oh my god.
I definitely think that it can happen in this too. I have no doubt that they will just try to do this kind of because they've tried to establish this as a common thing. Everyone can go into a back of tank and be healed or whatever. So I see where Ryan is going. Disney will try to push their own Star Wars multiverse, but of course neglecting the George Lucas. Oh yeah, and it's kind of what they're doing. It's very clear that's kind of what they're doing.
Except when they want to sell a new toy. Oh yeah, we'll put up the Jaina Solo figure.
Yeah,
there was
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Pops. There was one thing that I did get from a friend of mine. He's much younger than all of us, even younger than you, Mags. He grew up with the prequel trilogy. That was his Star Wars. He loves it. Saw the sequel, saw the the original stuff. Loves it. Loved Clone Wars. Loved Rebels. All of those things. This is what he wrote to me with regards to this. Dude, the latest episode of Kenobi, it felt fun watching it, but immediately felt hollow after. And I replied to him, that's what happens when you go after things that are carnal as opposed to things that are more eternal. Because he's also a youth pastor, so that's the type of thing that I the verbiage that worked. And here's what he replied to me about that. I think it's just a case of I've set my expectations as low as I can, and I'm still being disappointed.
Wow.
I'll finish this series, but after this, I don't know if I'll watch any more Disney Star Wars, YouTube channels aside. And that's exactly where I'm at. As I said, I love all the people that I hang around with on the YouTubes, the various Star Wars channels that I do hang with, but I just can't bring myself to watch this anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah, it's I'm actually to the point now because obviously they're setting up a whole lot of stuff. And by the way, for those of you that haven't seen the show or will not watch the show, just so you know, just forget that any of this has to do with Luke. Like, there's one shot, you saw it in the trailer. He's disobeying Uncle Owen, climbs on top of the little igloo looking thing on Tatooine. He's up there pretending to fly a ship. That's it. To the binoculars. That's it. He's gone. I didn't dislike we have to manufacture a reason for him to leave the planet. I know it messes up some canon in some ways. I think it does definitely mess up the intent of what was meant and said in New Hope. However, if we let that go just a little bit, the problem is it is Leia obsessed, not just because she's the MacGuffin, she's the baby Yoda being carried around. She's also like I don't get the people that think that she is like Carrie Fisher's incarnation of it. Like, it's just weird to me. She's not learning how to be a good leader. She's just being a brat. She's mouthy, disrespectful. She just does her own thing. And this episode continued that. It's the same thing with Reva. They're trying to make this about race. I'm like, you do realize that she's not Star Wars like at all. She looks like a black lady cosplaying in a suit, a knockoff Inquisitor costume, and then she's just got a nasty attitude. She's just got some nasty,
like a sore thumb amongst.
Yeah, she doesn't even fit. Yeah, she doesn't look like them. Why doesn't she look like them? We're not going to explain it. I don't believe they ever will.
Did you?
And the thing is, the one thing I never understood this is that she's like, and maybe they could explain this in the show, but they should have already explained this already. Where, why is she? She's in the Inquisitors, but why is she like being ugly to them? Like, I mean, I wouldn't say not in a sense ugly, but like, why is she picking a fight with? Why is she picking a fight with them when
she does in this episode?
with no particular reason. I mean, she's joined the Inquisitors. If she doesn't want to be in it, I mean, find a way to get the heck out. I don't understand.
Well, now
I
it's
don't
now it is
understand that.
now it's greed and envy.
Yes.
It's greed and envy. Chris, you're summarizing, I think, what I was trying to say better than I did, and that is that they killed off the Grand Inquisitor, ignoring Clone Wars and Rebels. Right. Because I had to look this up. I think Mag and I were talking. I said I had to double check that this is 5 years in the future was Rebels, because I was like, my head was hurting at this point. Like, I can't believe this is so badly pieced together. It's like it's like doing a puzzle, and then suddenly you're at the end and you realize there's 5 pieces missing, and there's one piece in the box, and you flip it over and it just says F you. It doesn't. It says. It just, that's how I felt watching this show.
Well,
what if they're doing all of this so that Filoni remakes the original trilogy? He'll make Leia the hero. Well, listen, if
you missed the meme, right? Where Bale says to her, "One day, all of Alderaan will look to you."
Yes.
And then they cut to the scene of the Death Star blowing up.
Blowing up. Yeah. I know.
And I'm like, that says it all. That's the setup. It's deconstructing Leia too.
Yeah, to a certain extent. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So,
right? And I'm not playing